welcome to Enterprise Morning on Enterprise Television, reaching you from the heart of Lagos. I am Kendi Boduri.
And I am Henry.
All right, so it is a beautiful day to stay informed and also inspired. We will begin with the newspaper review. Right after that, we will dive into our main conversation for the day. I know you don't want to miss that. Do not forget to join the conversation, drop your comment, and do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. So to discuss today's info with us, we have Barrister Evans. Ufeli is a barrister and a public affairs analyst. And you're welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
And we also have Emeka Madun, who is a journalist and a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, Mr. Emeka.
Hello, good morning, Emeka. All right, I think I'm having a little bit of yes. So let's kick start today. Interestingly.
All right.
What
Okay,
we
we'll
have?
be looking at the Punch first of all, and on the big story that on the Punch we have FG backtracks as NLC holds ground.
Yes. On the top three there we have APC opposition clash over by-election results in 12 states.
Okay, still on the top strip, we have shipping crisis delays Dangote's 3,550 CNG truck.
All right, we equally have the big one here. Nigeria deports 42 convicted Chinese, a Philippine cyber criminals.
Still at the bottom of the strip, Punch newspaper, we have NCPC resumes Israeli pilgrimage with 50% subsidy.
And also ICRC issues new PPP guidelines for MDAs. Barrister, I'd love us to kickstart this. It's interesting. I think we should take a look at it. Nigeria deports the 42 convicted Chinese, the Philippine cyber criminals. How is it that when it comes to foreign nationals in Nigeria, we learn to not give them the tough time as opposed to what Nigerians face in their country?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, some of these Philippines who are committing all these offenses here, some of them they commit it in the name of Nigerians. So when they say Nigerians are fraudsters all over the world, there are a lot of foreigners here who are using the name here to commit these things, and the world should know about it. And that we're not giving them stiff penalty is, to say the least, most unfortunate. Have those people, have they been tried? Have they been convicted? Have they served their term of imprisonment before they have been deported? Because if you christen them internet fraudster, what it presupposes is that they have been found guilty of the offense.
Yeah.
Yes. So what happens after that? It's not prison term. Prison term for obtaining by false pretense in Nigeria is 7 years imprisonment, which equals stealing. That is a penalty. They are the same penalty for stealing and all that. Is it that they did plea bargain or they were clear? Maybe the details of that story we need to look at it, because I don't know the rationale under which you are deporting them. Deportation is not the penalty. There's no such an offense as, there's no such a penalty as deportation. It's when you flout immigration laws and all that, you are deported as the consequence for your action. But that deportation itself is not a penalty as it relates to the offense they committed. You understand? So because if you commit this kind of offense in China and the Philippines or some of these places like India and all that, the penalties, they're very steep. Sometimes they lock our people up. You don't see them again. You don't get to see them again for life. Yeah. You understand? But we are very lenient, and then the world still bash us. I mean, everyone can just come and run on us like we are the worst the world has to offer. That's not true. A lot of people are here committing offenses. The Chinese are here bringing fake tires. Some of them are bringing contrabands. Some of them are in actual fraud. And they are doing that. The EFCC have arraigned many of them. You know, when you go to our court, especially the Federal High Court, you see them every day. As they are offloading people in Black Maria, you see them offloading these Chinese people.
Really?
Yes. In our courts every day. Just take a visit to our court. You see how they are committing offenses there. But if you commit offense over there, there should be reciprocity. You understand? Just not too long ago, America had to change their visa pattern for Nigeria, citing reciprocity. Yes, international balance. The way they treat our people is the way we should be treating their people. Because it's not fair on us that we're just a dumping ground. Everything is thrown at us. With all our exploits are not loud enough across the world. But little offense, even offenses foreign nationals are committing here, we blow it above the heavens and the sky. I think we should do something about our criminal justice system for foreigners. There's not supposed to be any disparity. But I don't know where they are drawing this law from, this inspiration from, this disparity I'm seeing. Because stealing is stealing under our law. It doesn't matter the national of the defendant or the convict. It doesn't matter. What applies to citizens will apply to them. By law, there's no disparity. It's the same offense.
All right, very true. For the want of words, we might use leniency, but I don't think that is what it is. Emeka Madunagu, are you there? Emeka, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I can hear you loud and clear.
Beautiful. Barrister used the leniency, but we know how it gets in Nigeria, a situation where foreign nationals get involved in the same crime that Nigerians would have been involved and served jail terms, but for foreign nationals, they have a way of going around it. Is there a form of complicity by the authority and equally those involved in these crimes?
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Well, deporting them, well, I think, I don't know the details of the diplomatic agreement between Nigeria and China on exchange of prisoners. I don't know if it is part of the reason why they've been returning prisoners to China and the Philippines. Because I want to just believe that our people will not be careless to the extent of indulging foreign criminals here. You know, I mean, if you remember, not too long ago, you know, these people were caught, you know, training Nigerians in cybercrime and other related offenses. So maybe it's part of a diplomatic arrangement that, okay, when you know, but again, that is not the only crime, you know, that is that you find Chinese nationals getting involved in. You also have issues of, you know, those who are here illegally, who have overstayed their visas. So when immigration raids factories, they go and hide. These people hide inside the bush, inside the gutters. Inside the gutters, they look for places to hide. So the thing is that the authorities in Nigeria need to tighten, to ensure that people do not come into this country and take advantage of any laxity to commit crimes.
So I would, okay, let me ask him this question before we this particular story. So, Mr. Emeka, could this affect Nigeria's diplomatic relations with China and Philippines? Did you get that?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Okay, so could this affect Nigeria's diplomatic relations with China and the Philippines?
No. Sometimes, you know, in diplomacy, international relations, sometimes it might be desirable to just offload these undesirable elements back to their countries of origin. Because, for instance, our prisons are full, our prisons are congested. And then you might not also want a situation where these people are able to spread their criminal viruses, you know, through the prison system. So you may just find out that it may be more beneficial, if you permit me to use that word, more beneficial to Nigeria to offload them, you know, from this country, send them back to their home countries, you know. At least let's have fewer problems to deal with. So sometimes it might be desirable. That's why I said, okay, it might also be that we have a relationship with those countries. An agreement that part of our bilateral relations is that, it covers the exchange of prisoners. So if we have their nationality in our prison, after they are tried and convicted, then you repatriate them. So they do the same thing to us, So either way, Nigeria will want to do things that will be beneficial to its, domestic situation. Thank you.
All right, Barrister, just before we leave this particular topic, there's something so important I want to say. Marcel Malanga, the son of Christian Malanga, they both had insurrection against the president of DRC just a couple of months back. Christian Malanga was killed in the course of that. Yeah. His son, Marcel Malanga, was arrested and was convicted. He was still serving jail time when the United States came and had the talk with the DRC, and he was released. He's now free, walking down the streets of Atlanta, the United States of America, where domestic or DRC participants who were part of that particular insurrection are currently serving live. So is this some sort of a gatekeeping by African authorities?
Well, that particular case seems to me like a case of how do I put it? Is it robbing Peter to pay Paul now, or robbing Paul to pay Peter? I don't really know how to put it. But people who are joint heirs to a criminal activity of that nature, which was supposed to upturn entire government. Yes. Now you have some of them working freely. You have some of them serving jail time. You understand? So it calls for, you look at it as grave injustice, even if it's just one person, okay? Because the same law we have, the same law we have, even though theirs have to do with life imprisonment, ours has to do with execution, because the offense itself is treason. Okay, an attempt by anybody or group of persons to take over a country or any part thereof is treason, and then it comes with capital punishment. Okay, so but Americans' involvement in it also, and the Africans' lack of consistency with their own rule because America is involved, also show you how weak we are. Little wonder Trump was asking one of the African leaders, where did he learn how to speak English this way? Because once America is involved, the African space will start to jitter. We want to please them at all times. Yeah. I mean, sometimes we can even supplant our laws. And they will just come and tell us, do it like this. We'll forget our laws and we'll follow their whims and caprices. Even when their whims and caprices is tied around interests, economic interests, most of the time it's about imperialism. America will not just wake up and say they want to. America are not necessarily interested in the peaceful coexistence of the world. They are only interested in peaceful coexistence of the world as to the extent at which it protects their interests. Otherwise, they would have been signatory to the Rome Statute, the Rome Statute that created the ICC, International Court of Justice. You know that International Criminal Court. You know America is not a party to it to date. They did not listen. Meanwhile, UN had its headquarters in New York, like America overseeing international world peace. Then if you go around and maybe kill terrorists extrajudicially, or you kill criminals extrajudicially or whatever, they will raise issues in the General Assembly of the United Nations. But they can go and kill Osama bin Laden, kill the other man, kill
anywhere they want.
Yes, bomb anywhere they want. But nobody will cite extrajudicial killing. You understand? That is why when you are powerful, sometimes you get away with a lot of transgressions. Okay, so it just tells you that it is not necessarily about world peace. It's more about you heard Trump with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin held him on the jugular He said because they are going to see again. He said when we are seeing the game, it will be
It will be Moscow.
it will be Moscow. And he said that's a hard one on me. Why? Because he knows that the Democrats, you understand, are watching. They want to hear what he's going to say because they have been watching him and Putin and their relationship even before his first time when he was kicked out of office. The few time he stayed there before he came back, they've always suspected that relationship. So for him to just jump at it, that was why he backtracked and said that's a hard one. I'll take a look at it and all that.
All right, beautiful. So let's go to another story. Emeka, NCPC resumes the Israeli pilgrimage with 50% subsidy. Is that necessary, Emeka? That government should subsidize for pilgrimage for Nigerians? Is it truly necessary, knowing the biting issues that we have in the country?
Well, like we've always said, it's very important to separate religion, from politics. This subsidy is just political. Subsidizing pilgrimages is political. Sincerely speaking, if you remove government subsidy from all these pilgrimages, Christian and Muslim, I'm telling you, you can count the number of people who will be going on pilgrimage on your finger. But these are the things, by which the way by which government wastes our money for political patronage. And at the end of the day, it's the economy that suffers. The people suffer. And we don't need it, actually. We don't. It should be scrapped. Thank you.
Pastor, what's your take on this, please?
They say whenever you mix religion with politics, you get a dirty solution. It's not what people should. You want to go to Israel, you want to go to Saudi Arabia, you should pay from your purse. You understand? Because even if you look at the Holy Read, those who went for pilgrimages in different parts of the world at that time, there was no record that people used government money to go there. The Ethiopian eunuch that went there and brought Christianity to Ethiopia, there's no record that it was sponsored by the government of Ethiopia, however long that happened. So, rationally, pilgrimages does not have economic input in the country where you are. Most of them are civil servants who have access to these privileges. You understand? And when they go, they come back worse than they were before. We've never seen a civil service or civil servant that have been reformed as a result of pilgrimage. If pilgrimage have the capacity to reform the citizens and reform the economy, I will be the first person to argue that we should empty our treasury to send everybody there. Maybe by a magic wand, all of us now get revived. we now get really born again, the true sense of it. And when we come back, we are ready to take on the righteousness that will exalt the nation. But we are not there. People go there and they are still the way they were before they left and all that. So the fact that we have been doing it for a long time and we've not seen the change, we've not seen the improvement, it has not affected anything. It's the reason why it should be scrapped. I mean, if we had doubt before, and now we have done it for a while, I think we have given it the benefit of doubt, whatever that this thing does not have the capacity to even reform, change anything. You understand? So it's not by going to pilgrimage or going but it's by doing the right thing. That money, I think they should use it to send them for training. Maybe some kind of human development training that will help them to be better persons in future. Because visiting biblical sites and the Quranic sites and all that, I have little or nothing to do to the human capital, except that perhaps it increases your faith in the God you serve, but that it does not really step down into people's character. So this thing
it's not so reflected. It's not a mirror.
It doesn't reflect.
Yeah, very true. So let's look at another paper here. I'd love us to look at the Guardian newspaper.
Okay. So we'll start with the. Should we go with the big story?
No, the Guardian. The Guardian newspaper.
Okay. So over 10 banks, insurance risks forced merger in race for new capital. That's the big story on Guardian.
Yes, and also we have Afe Babalola canvasses a better education sector to check insecurity.
Okay, we also have EFCC NIS deport 42 cyber criminals, 150 to follow.
Wow. That's coming from the last thing we talked about in the last newspaper.
Yeah.
So about 150 yet to follow the 42 already deported to their country.
Yes.
Also, we have pensioners deserve a duty of care and prompt a payment.
Okay, we have Alausa. We are bringing Nigerians out of school. As we are bringing Nigerians out of school kids back to classroom.
Emeka, do you agree with that?
That's actually interesting.
Dr. Tunji Alausa has been our friend here on Enterprise Television because we do a lot of discussion about him. He is talking about bringing Nigerians out of school kids back to classroom. Do you think whatever measure he has will possibly get the 23 million school children back to school? Emeka, are you there?
Okay, sorry, I missed the question. I missed your question.
So the question is, with the number of out-of-school children we have, about 23 million of them, Dr. Tunji Alausa, the Minister of Education, is saying that they are bringing them back to school, back to the classroom. Do you think it's ever possible to make that happen?
Which children are you bringing back to the classroom? Is it children who are severely malnourished? A lot of these children are severely malnourished. While they were, their mothers were pregnant for them, they didn't get any nutrition. They didn't get adequate nutrition. So which has affected their cognitive and intellectual and mental capabilities. And there are no plans, for them. You are bringing them back. In what way? In what way are you bringing them back? It can't be sincere. It's only for political purposes. Because we know that during the elections, these children are majorly used, for, to fill up the numbers. That's why you have underage voting. So, for this government that's desperate to get a second term, talking about bringing the children back, I'm suspicious of their motives, because this has been a recurring issue. 18.5 million of the out-of-school children in Nigeria, are in the north. That's about 69%. So how can you be telling me without any concrete plan? First of all, you need to address the mass poverty in the land. The mass poverty in the land. You need to address the socioeconomic issues that have led these children into the streets. Former President Goodluck Jonathan built schools, emergency schools in the north, but these schools were largely abandoned. So how are you going to bring them back? Unless you have a clear-cut, honest program to accommodate them in vocational training, because that to me is the quickest path to rehabilitating these children. You have to first of all take them off the streets of hunger and desolation. You have to first of all take them off. And the existence of the annulment syndrome is also a business, is a cash cow for unscrupulous politicians. It's a cash cow by which, for unscrupulous politicians and religious leaders. So that has to be dealt with. Otherwise, if you take away 18.5 million, they may be increased. They may be increased to, a larger number. And then again, when you look at the phenomenon of out-of-school children, it is not a one-size-fits-all. There are places like in the Southeast where out-of-school children are engaged in, apprenticeship, training programs and all of that, informal training programs. Not necessarily that they are on the streets begging or just idle. So in the Southwest too, you have out-of-street children who are, artisans engaged in one vocation or the other, informal. So when you say you are taking them out, we must, be sure that you actually even understand the dimensions of the problem before trying to resolve it. Thank you.
Exactly. For what? So Barrister, let me even use the word political purpose. Do you think what Dr. Alausa said can be termed that?
Yeah, what exactly are the strategy he has deployed to get these children back to school? Because many of them are already engaged in so many nefarious activities. Even INEC collude with those who keep those children out of school to register them as voters. Okay? During the election, you see them all over, underage voters. And in those places where they vote, nobody restrain them, because those who are conducting the elections are in cahoots with those who want to use the number to score political goals and objectives. But they forget that by the time you use them for political purpose and you abandon them, they will now become an albatross to the society in the nearest future. Because the way people you call Boko Haram today, insurgents today, were people who were abandoned 30 years ago. During the, the reign of Babangida, Abdusalami, and Shonikov, those whom were out of school that time are the bandits now. They are the insurgents now. And they were not even up to this number we're talking about. Okay. Now that you have over 20 million of them, or thereabouts, yes, that are out of school now, 30 years from now, we're looking at a very difficult situation. So, but if he should be sincere with this kind of thing, he shouldn't play politics with it. He should be sincere with this. He should be able to, this thing is not too difficult to curtail. All over the north, you have Red Cross. All over the north, you have civil society. A lot of NGOs. Go to Abuja, you see a lot of NGOs idle, doing nothing. As a minister for education, all you need to do is to aggregate the very sincere ones. Aggregate them and give them this assignment. To go and get the children. Okay? Document them. Let's know how many there are. Okay? Then get the federal government, the ministry need not be on the field. These NGOs, the Red Cross Society, those NGOs that are targeted at humanitarian activities, those are the NGOs you can use. Because that's why, as what is the strategy? Is he going to use school teachers to go and get them? Some of them are in the forest. Some of them are already part of the insurgents. Some of them are being trained in those camps, you know, and all that. Being trained on how to handle rifle and the rest of that. So we need to bridge that emptiness. Let's use the NGOs, because this is just a solution. Let's use these institutions that already exist, deploy them. They can get as many as possible. We can reduce the number if we cannot get all.
Yes, but is it possible to reverse engineer the Almajiri system? Instead of becoming nuisance to the society, they become productive.
Yeah, they can become productive, because the way we go about it, by trying to eliminate it, is what will not work. That's what Jonathan did. Jonathan wanted to stop it. Build a school for them, let them get into school, and then stop them from. But you see, you cannot use government policy to cure a culture. This is cultural. Yes. Okay? There are people who, that was how they were raised. Imagine a man who was born and thrown into the street. That's the only thing you understand.
The governor of Nasarawa State actually confessed that he was once an Almajiri.
Yes. And thrown on the street. Yeah. Atiku is one of them. So when he grows up, if he's not educated in the long run, what he will understand is to give birth and throw to the street too. So you see, it becomes a vicious circle. Okay, but if we can, let them continue if it's a culture. But government should have a way of intercepting the children independent of whatever their parents wish them. Because the children belong to government, really, in the true sense of it. So government should have a standby program, a rescue standby program that will always rescue them from that. And as much as possible, government must also discourage that culture, because it's repugnant to natural justice. That is not a culture that will pass through validity tests or repugnancy tests. It's repugnant. Okay? You don't give birth to children and throw them on. The government should look at it. But the rescue team should be much more vibrant, because we're talking about government contribution to human capacity development. If you have very schooled individuals, half of your population are very schooled. The remaining half are unschooled. Those unschooled ones will never allow anything development. There is no way those who are schooled will be able to thrive in the presence of those that are unschooled. Largely so. You can even see it in Lagos. You see how that you will be driving on the street. A city or your area boy can just step onto the road because he wants to collect money for it. Will just cause traffic and will be there creating that nuisance. Then you that you are not part of his upbringing, you did not support that he was not taken care of, he didn't go to school, you are trapped in the traffic. So the influence of one man that is uneducated, an uneducated man is a dangerous person because he sees things upside down. He will never be able to see clearly because, you see, education takes away the walls of idiocy and stupidity. That primarily is the harbinger of men. It's education that prunes. And an unpruned person will give you the dose, that incivility. And that incivility will cause chaos. Sometimes it will lead to riot. Sometimes it will lead to different things. Even the insurgents we're talking about. A man that went through school, 4 walls of a school, can you give him a gun that you're going to attack another person? He won't collect it from you because, yes, so you can see how easy it is to breed terrorists when you have an emergency system, that is that people are unschooled and the rest of that. So it's difficult for you to curb this situation when you have the floodgate of that culture open. That's why you need a rescue team. And that's what Alausa should be talking about. Because you just say rescue, you say you want to, out of school, you want to bring them back to classroom. See, it's not straight like that. You have to do a lot of things to bring them back to classroom. You must first document them. Let's know how many they are. Then we can now see how you can spread them across this. The public schools that you want to take them to do, that we will have sufficient, do we have sufficient classrooms? There are other factors that we're not looking at. Looking at expanding the scope, employing more teachers, training and retraining them, getting more facilities, indoctrinating them with modern education, AI and ICT and all that. These children are talented children. They are just unfortunate. And wherever they find themselves, what they will learn from. If you find themselves in the concentration camp, that's where they will learn from. If they find themselves in school, that's where they will learn from. And their output will reflect where they are learning from. So we need to be serious about it. This is a national emergency. This thing is an emergency. But because the way it's saying, just going to bring them back to classroom. You should look at it proper. We have to do something about it. This is an emergency.
Very well. This is an emergency. I just hope that Dr. Tunji Alausa would not bring forward $1 trillion worth of a budget, hopefully for feeding program yet again, as maybe to him the only solution. Hopefully.
But I just feel he may even have other plans, even if he has not stated.
Dr. Tunji had never had no good plans. It's always two step forward and 7 step backwards. We've seen it with JAMB, we've seen it with WAEC, we've seen it with lots of things. But of course, we hope that things will get better. Even the Holy Read in the Quran, would always say that you don't bring forth children that you do not have the capacity to train. So the Al-Majri system, I would love to believe, is not a good one. It needs to be revisited and hopefully can save our children that are currently not in school. Well, that's just about the time we have for this segment, and just to let you know that Barrister and Emeka would be here to take us on our main conversation when we return. Wike consolidates a grip on Rivers politics as Fubara loyalists feed ahead of 2027. This is Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.